The walls may not be up, but the stairs are in, making steps towards the finishing of Jane's house. Over the last few weeks, we've seen the windows, exterior doors and cladding go on at Jane's Sumner build. Jane's returned to Christchurch after a trip up north and is excited to see the progress at her house.
So after being away for a couple of weeks, I've been up and down to Wellington, and it's really quite exciting when you come back because there's been some significant changes. Nothing seems to happen for ages, and then suddenly there's big changes. So with the doors going in, the windows, and at the back here we've now got the walls, so you've got an idea of where the kitchen's going to be, and the size of the library or the snug, whatever you'd like to call it. So you're starting to get perspective, and it's starting to feel real. It feels like a house now, particularly we've got the roof on, and the roof's gone on over the garage as well. That's something else that's happened. So it's really feeling as though it's close, but not quite close enough. Don't think we're going to make that November 14 deadline, but anyway, that's fine as long as I'm in for Christmas. But the windows are fabulous. The door there is just amazing, the way it just glides. And we've already had a practice sitting on the balcony with plastic chairs and having a drink or two. just doing a test run, but no, it feels like a house now. And so the next bit, when the actual bats start to go in and the jib goes on, you then really start to get a real feel, because often this feels like the small stage, and when the jib goes on, and this is my experience last time I built I was so disappointed with the kitchen, and they kept saying to me, oh no, it'll be fine, and then when it was finished, it felt huge. But just when you just get the jib on and the white walls, it's going to be lovely and spacious.
And with Jane back in town but no workers on site, Ivan is doing his best to explain what's going on. He's got Jane talking about doors, fashion and cavity sliders.
Right, we're here with Jane again. Jane's called me in for a please explain.
We're delayed once again. No workmen on site today.
It's Friday, the boys are at the pub. It is actually, just to be fair, it is, what time is it? 3 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a custom-made saddle flashing that goes over the front door.
This is the bit that sticks out on the plans. Okay, because I'm never quite sure why we had that, but I guess there's a reason for it.
Basically, so when you go to the front door, you walk in, you're not getting rain running down the back of your neck, I guess.
Okay.
So this sort of stuff, most houses you go to the hardware store and you buy stuff that just fits. Jane's house, everything's going to be custom made, but that's just the way it is. So this is here now, so the installer isn't here today, but he is back there Monday, because we also had to get 3 saddle flashings made, little ones, for over the parapets in the garage. Also, if I just put this here for a second, also in the same room, we've got Jane's internal doors. At Jadine's home, the other home we've been building, is basically the doors are standard height, they're 1980 high, which is a standard industry standard.
Yeah.
I don't think I even discussed with you.
You didn't. You just told me I needed big doors, and I was very compliant and just said yes.
So these are 2.3 metres high, and what that does is obviously makes everything feel more voluminous.
Yeah.
And with the horizontal lines.
It's a big word, Ivan.
Yeah. Is it a word? Is it? I'll chuck those in just to
voluminous, I think, is actually voluminous.
Well, these horizontal lines actually also add width to the doors, but like a big guy shouldn't be wearing horizontal stripes, they should be vertical stripes.
And then these all get painted, obviously on site.
Did you want them painted? Of course we're going to paint them on site.
Stripes, yeah.
Stripes. They'll be painted on site once they're installed.
Yeah.
And I've got to tell you this, for those that are listening, at the start of this project, so how many years ago?
5 years ago.
Jane didn't want cavity sliders, and this is a
That's your
slider.
real coup, isn't it? That's about your powers to persuade.
Yeah. Well, it made perfect sense to
it
put
did,
one
absolutely. No, I came around to the idea.
Truth is, builders hate cavity sliders, and you and I talked about that, because they'll move. As hard as we try to stop them moving, anyone watching that's got a cavity slider that moves will know exactly what I'm talking about. And the builder throws his arms up and sometimes they'll hardly move at all. It's normally they'll move if you've got a heating difference between room to room.
Which I shouldn't have.
No, you won't have. That's why it made some sense.
Over in Redwood, the flooring decisions made by Jadine and Amy are being put into place as Dustin checks out the brand new carpet.
So the last part of the flooring, I'm up to carpeting now, so the guys are here this afternoon and they'll have the rest of the house completed. So we're in the lounge area at the moment, that's all been laid. Carpet's one of those items that's, again, you get what you pay for. So because you've sort of got one chance at doing it right, you're better off to spend, you know, as much as you can afford on your flooring. That way it'll last a heck of a lot longer, and you won't have to be pulling it up, you know, after 7 or 10 years. So part of that process is ensuring that you've got a good quality underlay. That'll extend the life of your carpet. If you put a real cheap underlay in, the carpet just gets, you know, wears out really, really quickly, and it doesn't matter what you do, it struggles to stay alive. So a good quality underlay is important. After you've got the good quality underlay down, then it's about having the carpet. So in Jadine's case, it's the 100% solution dyed nylon, extra heavy duty. So what that means is it's got good anti-staining properties, particularly if you've got wee kiddies and things and they have a tendency to drop, you know, drink or anything like that, or mum and dad's got a red wine, it'll stain easy. So this carpet's got some resistance to that, which is really good. Huge colour range, and Jadine's gone with the sort of the darker colour, which matches this house because we've got the black and white theme going on. She's got very light coloured walls and dark floor. So whatever furniture she's going to put in here is going to look really cool. So she should be pretty happy with this. She hasn't seen it yet, so she'll be coming down later once the boys are finished, and I'm hoping for a text or a phone call later to tell me that she loves it.
Still to come, things aren't quite cooking in Jadine's kitchen, and Dustin and Jordan continue the clothesline debate as they discuss landscaping.
He came up with another idea, but we've sort of compromised, so we've got it about right.
At Jadine's, the kitchen is now complete with a bright red splashback to match the front door.
So now we've got the Jadine splashback in. Now, as you can see, a nice shade of red, which, funnily enough, she's kind of matched to the front door, where she's also got a red front door, so that's pretty cool. Now, there's a practical reason to have this in the home as well. Because Jadine's got a gas top, or a gas top oven here, we have to have something on the wall as fire protection. So there's a couple of things you can do. She's done glass, and it's actually painted glass, so the colour is actually painted on the back side of this glass. Now, the reason that you do that is that if you put a clear sheet of glass on the wall, any imperfection in that wall is really, really visible. So if you can paint it a colour, and it could be even the same colour as the wall if you want to, it means that the glass will look really good all of the time. There'll be no imperfections visible. Or you can literally pick any colour you like. So in Jadine's case, she's gone with red. She's going to come down later on to have a look at this, so I'm pretty sure she'll be stoked with that. And it's pretty close to the front door, so she's done really well.
Dustin's been waiting for Jadine to bake him some muffins, but it seems that even with the kitchen complete, he's going to have to wait a little bit longer.
So this is my beautiful new kitchen. The splashback is all in. It's absolutely perfect, beautiful and red, my favourite colour. My lovely oven. I'm pretty excited about this puppy. Can't wait to cook in this, and I will definitely be making Dustin some muffins. However, this lovely oven didn't come with a gas bottle, so until I go and get a gas bottle, sorry Dusty, I'm not going to be able to be baking anything yet. Okay, so I'll go and hook that up, and I'll be making you some muffins or maybe a cake.
Hi, I'm Ivan, and this is my tip of the day, landscaping. Obviously, when we build a home, it's pretty much always the case we'll sit with the client at the beginning as part of your overall budget and talk about landscaping. Typically, for what it's worth, your landscaping and your drapes end up being about 10% of your build budget. Obviously, some clients will spend less, some clients will spend more. But inherently what we're trying to achieve here by talking about landscaping is to get your driveway put in, get your paths in place before you take possession, so you're not traipsing mud in and out of your home. You can drive your car on your garage, on your driveway into your garage, so you can offload all your possessions and actually start living in the house. The landscaping that we offer, we use a company called Outer Space. Outer Space have a wealth of knowledge and experience in putting down concrete paths, timber decks, soft landscaping, lawns, irrigation, all those types of things that we need for your home. And so again, we go back to the magical budget word and talk about it at the beginning so that we can establish what can be done within your budget. A lot of clients end up doing a lot of their soft landscaping themselves, so buying plants and planting them. Most people don't find that too onerous, but the concrete paths, timber decks are often dealt with by our contractors. So my tip of the day is let's talk about landscaping and incorporate it into your price. That's my tip of the day.
With Ivan's tip in mind, Dustin catches up with Jordan from Outer Space Landscapes to get the dirt on Jadine's backyard progress.
Today we're here with Jordan Frizzell from Outer Space Landscapes, and he's got the boys working, well, made a real good start actually on the landscaping already. So, g'day mate, how you going?
Good mate, yourself?
I'm very well, I'm very well. So, tell us a wee bit about landscaping, mate. Where do we start and how do we get to these stages?
Well, the main thing we've got to do is obviously we draw up a plan. So when Jadine came to us, she had a budget to work to, and within that budget we had to come up with a solution that sort of worked to obviously the new layout of the house. As you can see, there's quite a bit of concrete and stuff going around here. She wanted to fence the property because of the dogs and things. She wanted some gates, some access down here. She's talking about sort of boats and jet skis and things later on, so she's pretty excited about that. And then it was one of the big issues was where the clothesline went. There's a bit of discussion about that, and I think you were part of that as well, were you?
Yeah, I was actually, mate, to be honest, and it's one of those things that we've all got different ideas on where it should go, and I mean ultimately, as we know, Jadine does what I tell her, so it's gone where I've suggested it should go. Doesn't quite agree with Jordan. He came up with another idea, but we've sort of compromised, so we've got it about right. So that's a bit of tongue-in-cheek that we have with the client, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, so what about the lawn, mate? What are we doing with the lawn?
Yeah, the lawn, so it's obviously quite a big, expensive lawn out here. We managed to talk her into sort of leaving one of the feature trees in the corner. We've brought in about sort of 4 truckloads of new screen soil, spread it over the site, and then once the concrete goes down, which is happening this Saturday, we will be, we'll carry on with the lawn after that. So there's a bit of a process involved in the concrete. The concrete goes down, it's got to be acid washed and sealed, and then expansion cut and things. Then after that process is finished, we come through, finish off the fencing, do the lawns, and hand it back over to her.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Finished.
Okay. Well, that's looking really good. And again, like Jordan said, we've got to work to a budget, so which is often the hard part. But these guys are really good at doing that, and there's so many options available. And when it comes to getting things right, I mean, from our point of view, from Fowler Homes' point of view, working with Jordan and the team from Outer Space, it's really good. So I'm excited to see the end product, and I know Jadine will be as well, because it's quite different to what she had before in many aspects. So these guys already have transformed this place, and it's going to look even better. Hi, today my advice is about variations. Now, variations can occur when it comes to building. It's something that we try and discourage, so we don't encourage the clients to make changes or have variations once the building is underway. But, you know, things can happen. Sometimes clients will have a look through a brochure and see an item that they would like to put in their home instead of the one we've chosen, you know, plumbing or electrical or something really simple like that. So when you're going to have if there is going to be a variation, it's important to document that at the beginning. Sign off on the variation, agree to it, particularly if it means that you're going to spend some more money. You want to keep track of your budget throughout the whole build, so the more things you change, potentially the more money you can spend, and you don't want to get to the end of the job and think, oh gosh, you know, we've run out, you know, we can't get enough, and we've got all these extra things in our house, and how are we going to pay for it? So take variations seriously and consider whether or not you actually do need that particular product, or you want to implement that change in your home. And then if you do, sign off on it and get all parties to agree and implement it, and then you'll be away and racing.
And Jadine is away and racing. With the changes made to her wall, the heat pump should now be able to warm the place up without any problems.
Okay, so you'll remember in earlier episodes when we had the framing here, we had a bit of an issue, well, not really an issue, but Jadine wanted to change the location of this opening. So in the plan, on her floor plan, there was actually a wall where I'm standing, and this opening was actually halfway down the hallway. Now, she wanted to change that because of the location of her heat pump, which is behind me. Now, it makes perfect sense that we've done that, obviously, because now the heat pump is going to blow the air through this area, it's going to spread through to her room, it's going to get through to the back bedrooms and all the bedrooms behind me. So, so that worked out to be a good idea. The other thing we've done is we've made this opening a bit wider. Now, again, that was to encourage the airflow to get through here. I had to be really careful. You might remember that this wall beside me is actually a bracing wall, so it had to be a certain length. It's got bracing elements on both sides. As long as I maintain that, the plan still complies and everything's still okay. Now, making changes like this are not really ideal. Like, we don't encourage it, but if we can achieve it, then we will. If I had to change this wall and it was a bracing wall, then I'd actually have to redo the plan, send it back to the council would have to approve it, and we would have had to have stopped work. So changes are not something I recommend, but it does happen from time to time, and provided it's only a minor change like this one really is, then it's, you know, everything was all right. So I'm pretty sure that Jadine will be happy with what we've got here. and everything's going to be nice and warm and everything will work the way it should do.
With the electrical fit-out completed, Dustin checks out the fuse board to see how it makes modern homes safer.
One of the final pieces of this puzzle when it comes to constructing a home is fitting off the electrical, and behind me we've got the fuse board here, so pretty much everything's in place, all the circuits are in the right position. You'll see that there's a lot of circuit breakers there, so when it comes to your electrical, the house is split up into generally about 4 or 5 different circuits. So if you were to plug something really old into one of the plugs in maybe your bedroom, it'll trip the circuit. Now that's designed obviously as a safety feature. Some really old appliances don't go well with the new RCDs or the circuit breakers, so they'll trip those immediately, and that's about protecting your home and protecting that particular appliance that you've put in. So that happens from time to time in the new homes, and generally it's with the old stuff. So everything gets labelled and everything gets turned on. So from this point on, I've got live plugs, I've got the lights are in, they've all been fitted off, and everything's going. And all the main circuits like your oven and your heat pumps and stuff, that's all finished as well. So that's a completed fuse board, that's what you can see there. And I can't really say much more about electrical other than liven yourself up.
Coming up on your new home, together at last, Dustin and Ivan are at the Canterbury Home Show. They share with us how things have changed since the Canterbury earthquakes. Things are looking up at Jane's as Ivan shows us the stairs that lead to her beautiful upstairs view.
Right, hey, we're at Jane's, and at the moment, well, the boys have just finished installing the stairs. On Jane's home, we've got an MDF stair, so custom wood, some people would call it, it's a brand name, but typically in New Zealand, most people's stairs are made of MDF or custom wood, and typically they're carpeted. The alternate to this is to use a timber stair, which is a lot more expensive and also probably not that serviceable. Anyone with a timber stair that's watching will understand what I'm saying. Construction method wise, this is called a winder, so we're coming in from the ground floor position and we're winding our way up the stair to this tread here. For those that don't know, that's called a tread and that's called a riser. Each stair is individually made to suit the house, all made to a New Zealand standard, so in terms of the height and the foot placement, the tread, because basically when you go to someone else's home you want to be familiar with how you're stepping up the stairs, and installation is really important. They have to be done very solid. We use large Tex screws into every stud, and we also foam the stair in so there's no expansion, and the foam acts as a glue as well as a noise buffer, because people walking upstairs creates a noise. Because adjacent to the stairs, one of the guest rooms, in fact it's Jane's study, so it's not so critical, but it could be used as a guest room. So it's good to have that extra bit of noise barrier. So we'll place noise control bats in the wall and 2 layers of jibboard on the inside of the wall to help any noise transmitting into the room. So that stairs, I mean, Alex will show you on camera just sort of construction underneath. Pretty basic, but really important that they're made right. We use Mackay Kitchens to make our stairs, or Mackay Kitchens and Stairs they're called. And they've been building stairs in Canterbury for many years. And obviously over that time they've made small improvements on how they go together to avoid any callbacks, which is what people want. They want a good quality product made from day one. So that's the story about Jane's stair.
With changes slowly but steadily taking place at Jane's, it's that time again. That's right, I put Ivan on the spot about when Jane can expect to see a finished house. Lovely to see that the stairs are in, Ivan, and nice to actually climb up them, because I haven't been up here to look at the view, as I didn't like climb the ladders in my high heels. So it's looking great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great, as Dustin would say, but no, it's really quite cool for Jane and people like yourself and the tradies to have a stair instead of a scaffold. It's a hell of a lot safer to walk up and down the stair. Really, you've got to be careful when you put them in, because I think most people that have got stairs will know how they can creak if they're not installed properly. I believe we don't do that, but time will tell. I mean, Jane's got a lovely big tall window there at the foot of the stair,
Yeah, there's
which we've been discussing this morning, whether we make it obscure glass or not. So we'll just wait and see how she feels about it a bit further down the track.
No, it's looking good. It's really starting to take shape. So, do I say the T word?
Yeah, time out. Okay, we'll finish the cut.
Timing?
Yeah, so Jane and I just talked about the timing, and it's probably no surprise to people watching. I'm not going to be finished as I thought it would be at the time of the show, but we'll get to do a return trip here because I want to show what we've done for Jane and what Jane's put into the house with her own thoughts and ideas. It's really important.
And landscaping.
Yeah, landscaping is going to be really cool.
Yes, yeah.
Jane's got some pretty cool ideas that I've told her about. And
Of course, she gets all her bright ideas from Ivan, you know.
no, she's a very logical thinker. She's just standing over there, so I've got to be quite nice to her. But
You're laughing in the background.
she's logical thinker, and you know, I've said enough about Jane in the past, and I'm not winding her up. I think it's really cool to work with people that will listen to some ideas that are put forward. Not all my ideas are good, but most of them are.
Well, that's why you've been doing it for a while. Yeah.
Apparently.
So anyway, so we'll be at a finishing stage.
Yeah, the
towards end of the show.
chipboard plaster will be done, and
Great.
I imagine we'll have a lot of the painting done before the show's finished.
Good.
And my attempts to get the kitchen in because Jane's kitchen is really cool.
So we're moving forward.
Yeah.
It's not often we get to see Dustin and Ivan in the same room at the same time because they are both such busy boys. They both spent a whole weekend together at the Canterbury Home Show. Let's see what they got up to.
Canterbury Home Show, it's the fourth one since the Quadix.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting actually, mate. You probably would have noticed it, how different the inquiries are to what they initially were.
I think the first year was pretty full on because clients were in real dire need. You know, the earthquake had just happened, didn't they? And there was a lot of stories, probably a lot of horrible stories really in many cases, which was quite interesting to work with. But it's certainly evolved, isn't it? Over the years, there's less and less of those cases coming through, and I think we're getting more and more happier people in Christchurch coming through.
I think there's a bit more certainty, mate, because they're now thinking, well, we've got a settlement, or we know where we're going, where before it was like we're getting a new house, but some of them still haven't got those houses they've been promised.
Yeah.
So they were coming here not knowing what it's going to cost, what they were allowed to get, and now they've got more clarity around that.
Yeah. I've had a couple of cases this morning. This is the first day of the show this weekend, and there's a couple of cases where people have got through the process, but it's stalled, you know, with their respective company that they're building with or whatever, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think that's a reflection of just how busy it is now. We've got so much work on. So previously people were waiting to get started. Now they're in the system, but they've got to wait even longer, you know, to actually get physically built, which is a bit of a concern, but I think it's just what we're dealing with at the moment, isn't it?
I remember back to 2005-07, people used to say to us, oh, you know, we want to build a house, can you do it? When can we start? And how much delay? And I guess those questions are coming back, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, because people are concerned.
Yeah.
So that's understandable, because once they're finally allowed to go ahead and do what they've been thinking they're going to do, they just want to do it, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think that's where the building time frame gets, you know, people say, well, we're started, I mean, when's it going to be finished, when can we move? And they get excited, because it's been such an arduous process up to that point. So, but I think, yeah, so far, this year, like you say, mate, the fourth year on, people are happier, and I mean, we're at the first morning, so it's going to be a busy weekend. I can see that, normally is, which is great. It's good for us.
It's great, yeah, it's great. Mate.
Oh, yeah, I'll throw that one. Sorry about that. Apologise now for always saying great. It is good, though.
Shouldn't say excrement, should you?
No. Tickety-boo.
Tickety-boo. Tickety, that's the new one.
Yeah, that's the
so
new
it's
one.
Tickety-boo.
That's our tip of the day.
Welcome to the show. Is that our tip of the day?
That's our tip of the day, yeah.
Next time, Jane might be lucky enough to get some internal doors to walk through, but will there be any walls in sight? And how much closer is Jadine to moving into her new home? Find out next time on Your New Home.